Happy hump day. So a lot of times when I make my videos, I get thoughts from things I see on TV or maybe social media that activates a thought, and it's not a new thought. It's not always addressed just to that, but it's things that I always think about anyway, and it just reminds me, hey, maybe I can talk about it. This morning, I was brushing my teeth, and I'm thinking about the whole uh, uh, the overall problem, the way I see it, and a solution. And again, it all starts with us looking in the mirror and just some food for thought today. And again, see, I don't like to make comparisons. People talk about, you see a lot of posts about, well, there's white cops that kill white people, black people kill black people. None of that justifies what happened to George Floyd. So I don't like to make those comparisons. They're all bad on their own merit. So I'm not making comparisons between one of the two. This is just something for us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves where we are at the core. Because there's a lot of people that are thinking or saying that some people are protesting for different reasons. It's not true. It's not sincere. But run your own analysis on yourself, because we are all judgmental. Now, I used to not like to play on words, but words make a difference, because how we define a word, it could be different to each of us, and how we say things and how we relate to those things makes a difference in ourselves. So the phrase that don't be judgmental. We all judge. That's just human nature. We look at something and we analyze it. We judge it. I say I don't pass judgment. To me, passing judgment means I've made a decision. I look at somebody, the way they're dressed, the way they're talking, and I say that person is this way or that way. I don't say that. I say, well, this is what it appears to me. I don't know until I talk to the person, get to know them. Again, each individual situation, each person is differently, just like your fingerprint. I mean, we can go down the list, and you ask yourself, how judgmental and how uh, discriminatory are you based on how someone talks, right? If you talk to someone with a Southern accent, if they got a little bit of a Southern twang to them, you tend to think, okay, this person probably likes to go fishing, go hunting. They probably have a four-wheel drive. Which some of those things may be true because of where people come from that have that accent. They have a culture and a kind of way they live. But to go too much deeper than that, to say just because someone talks a certain way or lives in a certain area, that they have certain beliefs, whatever they are, religious, however they think, that would be passing judgment, and that's wrong. How many times have we done that? When we see somebody walking down the road, uh, you look at how someone's dressed, you look at how someone's walking. Uh, you know, e- even think about women that are very pretty, thin. A lot of times they're discriminated against because they might look like a model, and people look at them and say, "Oh, she's probably all stuck up because she's all this and that." And you have no idea. This person might have self-esteem issues. People that are overweight. I believe it's proven that people that are overweight are discriminated against on jobs, getting jobs. Um, so whether you're in shape, you see a big buff guy, oh, he must be a rockhead, or an athlete, oh, he's a jock, he's dumb, or people with blonde hair. So there's discrimination for everything. If you look good, if you don't look good, if you're in shape, if you're out of shape. So you have to ask yourself, am I a part of that? Because it kind of, I don't know if you saw the video I posted yesterday with Sadhguru talking about If we can be cruel to animals, then the next step is being cruel to people. Uh, and again, everything has a fine line, cruelty, but it's, it goes deeper into how you think, how you see things, how you see people, how you judge just by a look or one word, or because even I've done it, and I'm sure most of us have done it. We've either said something that came out wrong that we didn't mean in the moment, whether we were mad, whatever it was, or we misunderstood something that somebody said. It happens. But unfortunately in the media, and it happens on both sides, all TV stations, all politicians, somebody says something that's off base, or they say a name wrong, and everybody jumps in. Oh my gosh, oh my god, he said this, he said that. Well, a month ago this person said this. People change their mind. That's what life's about, right? Growing, learning. And it gets me when somebody goes back 20 or 30 years, uh, because it's happened to me. I'm a different person. I think differently. I feel differently than I did 20 years ago. Uh, Not at a core. My core was there, but there were a lot of things that needed to be adjusted and fixed. And I don't think that way. So when somebody says, well, when you were 20, you said this or did that. Well, okay. That was 30 years ago. We change. Now, unless I show evidence that I haven't changed and that I am saying the same thing, then that's that. But that would be different. If I'm a different person now, it's no different than somebody that maybe has an addiction problem with alcoholism, drugs, or maybe committed a crime. And the old saying, a leopard doesn't change its spots. That's terrible. I'm not a leopard. Leopards don't change their spots, but people change. People grow, and we just have to focus on that. But just look at how you look at the world, how you judge people. We never know what someone else's story is. Real quick, I'll share this with you. The Seven Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. I think that's the name of the book. He tells a story about how he's on a subway train. It's on a Saturday, so there's not a lot of people in there. And he's either going to an event or coming back from an event. And I don't know if this was a true story or if he was just telling it, but a guy's on the subway and his kids are running around acting all crazy. And he's sitting there thinking, my gosh, man, this guy needs to get control of his kids. So eventually, he looks over to the guy and he goes, your kids are kind of going crazy. And the man looks at him and says, yeah, we just came back from the hospital and their mother passed away. So I guess they're having a hard time dealing with it. So, you never know. You never know someone's story. And there's a line, because I think about this all the time. There's a line between making excuses for people and being too lenient, and being too judgmental, or so it takes a balance, and that's why I'm so big on meditating, and I need to look for another word for that, because there's such a misconception, or the way people think about meditation. Sitting in the silence, and sitting with your thoughts. You know, at first, what I did, I just sat there and just let your thoughts go crazy, and then you'll kind of a certain thing that probably is the most relevant to you at the time. Just sit there with it, whatever it is. If it's a bad feeling, just sit with it. Don't try to fight it. Let it be there, and start to analyze it, and you'll have this inner conversation, and you'll start to see. Uh, it's kind of, a lot of times I use this comparison of people that are, and mostly women, they're in abusive relationships. They love this person, but the person's abusive. But the person also has is like a Sour Patch Kid. I don't know if you've ever seen those commercials where he's mean and then he's nice. So I'm sorry, I love you, and they're nice and they're good for a little while, and then they're abusive again. So it's confusing to the person that's being abused, because, well, maybe he's doing that because he loves me, but then then there becomes a line, which, in my opinion, there should never be any abuse. You should never accept it. Uh, but that's up to you. That's if you think things. I'm sure that people have been in those relationships that there has been positive outcomes. People have changed. Um, as I've gone through my relationships through the years, from what I've been through, what I've learned, and what I want and expect, is so far what I've seen is different than what I would say the norm is, what most people, uh, because I want to be happy. I don't want confrontation and strife. And a lot of people will tell you, well, that's inevitable. Well, if that's your story, if that's your belief, if that's your expectation, that's what you're going to get. So, and again, that's relative to what strife is. I'm not saying no disagreements whatsoever, but uh, we kind of get. Mike Dictus said it once. He said, "You get what you tolerate." So if you put up with something, that's what you're going to keep getting. Uh, so I wrote that down earlier. That's a subject if I remember, I'll make a video about it tomorrow, about uh, success and failure. Um, and I guess it applies to relationships as well as get along. Oh, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be this. Does every relationship go through that? Does everybody? But anyway, that's a little bit off topic of what I was talking about. Just ask yourself, see how judgmental you are, and to start practicing just to see. I mean, you can't help but you see. I don't care what color someone is. If they're walking down the street and their pants are hanging down, I'm like, that looks ridiculous to me. But I'm not gonna say that's a thug or that's whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just a very influence not influential. Well, uh, a kid that's easily influenced. So he sees someone else do it that he looks up to, so he does it. I don't think that makes a person one way or the other. I will say that I I think you can tell more about someone by the way they dress versus by their color. I mean, if you see somebody that's dressed nice, you tend to think a certain way. Who knows? Maybe if they had their choice, they would dress a different way, but they had a job interview, so whatever. And, uh, you know, and the other example that I thought this morning was, the gay community. You see a guy that has a high, soft-spoken voice. He walks a little feminine. Most people look at him and say, yeah, he's probably gay. Whatever, may or may not be. There's a lot. There's a lot of. You just don't know, and you don't judge, and you don't pass judgment. And for me, uh, you do right by me, uh, which doing right by me is just not invading my space, not invading me, not attacking me for anything, not trying to take anything from me. You don't have to do anything nice for me. You don't have to go out of your way for me to think good or bad about you. Um, so just ask yourself how often, look, and test yourself. How often do you judge someone by the way they look, by the way they walk, by the way they talk, by the way their hair is, and how do you respond when you're with someone? Oh my God, look at that person. Oh my God, look at them. And again, it's not a comparison to racism at its core, but it kind of starts that to me, that's like the bottom line. If we could start getting rid of that and stop teaching our kids that, We have to be careful what we say around the youth. When they're sitting behind us watching TV or playing a game and we're talking, they're listening. That's how we learn, by observing others. So just ask yourself: Are you are you a little bit of the problem? Uh, how much of an example are you leading by? Be the change you want to see. Lead by example. All these little quotes and phrases are good, but we have to start practicing. You have to practice them in your life. Yep. Love you. See you later. Bye bye.